Welcome to the Broken Plane Podcast with your hosts, Jay and TK.
Hello.
And this week,
it's the South Divisions.
The South Divisions, the NFL, the NFC, and the AFC Southern Divisions.
We got some quality and we got a little less quality.
We have, I think I was a little concerned going into this week because I'm not as familiar with a lot of these teams, and I don't like many of these teams. I wouldn't choose to follow them on a regular basis.
Oh, what I found was that I don't think that highly of the AFC South, but at the same time, I could see them doing really well. I just have no idea about them.
Yeah, they've got a couple of teams that got some talent.
I'm going to be surprised, I think, no matter what happens.
Yeah, it'll be a good. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Certainly, the podcast will be fun. This will be fun.
Always fun.
For those of you who don't know, we're recording this on the 1st of August. Training camps have started already. And here in Portland, Oregon, we are going to be working on a week of record-breaking heat.
100 degrees.
It's supposed to get up to 106.
Too much.
107, I think, Wednesday.
I'm leaving.
You're
I'm going to the beach.
That's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Well done. Anyway, why don't we jump in?
Let's start. Where do we start?
The AFC South. We'll run down the AFC South, then we'll hit the NFC South.
Let's do it.
Back. All right, AFC South. The Houston Texans. They finished last season first in their division, 9-7, which seems like a record that you could win a division with. Well, sometimes I just remember back to when the Seattle Seahawks won their might have been 6-10.
Yeah, where they
won the division. And then they beat the Saints in the playoffs. That was okay. Never mind. We'll get back, get off the Wayback Machine, and back to reality. 9-7 won the division last year in the South.
All on defense.
It was literally all on defense. The Texans were outscored 328 to 279 last year.
Eesh.
They gave up close to 50 points, more than they scored, and still wound up winning. They're 2 games above 500.
That's winning ugly.
So I guess that's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You take what you get.
That's right. I'd rather be 9-7 than 7-9.
I'd rather be in the playoffs than not.
Yeah, if you had to choose, if they're going to make you choose, that's how you go. Okay. Well, it really starts on defense. That's where their talent lies.
Most of it. They've got a few pieces.
Not really, no. We'll talk about that. They don't really have any pieces on offense.
Oh, yes.
Defensively, they have J.J. Watt, 3-time NFL Player of the Year, 4-time All-Pro. Took last season off because he didn't want to be part of that group, or he got a herniated disc in his back. I'm not sure which one.
A little bit of both.
It could be. Missed 13 games last season. Had surgery to fix it. Tried to play through. That didn't work out. He took the rest of the season off. While he was out, Jadeveon Clowney really stepped up into that pass rushing role.
Amazing player.
He is a genetic freak.
He might be just as intimidating as J.J. Watt at this point.
He's huge and fast, and he looks. If you just see a picture of him by himself, he looks like he's about 5'10", 180. And he is not 5'10", 180. He's about 6'7". He's 310 pounds, 300, maybe not quite that. He's a little over 300, I think. Anyway, yes, huge guy. 6 sacks last year, 40 tackles.
58 QB pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Huge run stopper.
And they can play him all across the line. So he's got some talent there. Vince Wilfork last year held down that nose tackle spot. He's gone this year. He's retired.
I don't think they're going to miss him.
They've got DJ Reader.
Yeah. And Wilfork had one of his worst years last year. So
there's a reason why he's not playing this year. Yeah.
Well, there was talk of him not coming back, I think, the year before as well, too. So
yeah,
it's time.
Probably is time. And here we are. On the defense, an interesting thing I thought about the defense is this year, Romeo Crennel was the defensive coordinator last year. They promoted him out of that spot. He's now an assistant head coach.
Yeah. whatever that means.
Yeah, so they can give Mike Vrabel the defensive coordinator title, and they were going to lose him in the offseason. Yeah, so they
just want to keep
they manufactured a spot for him and kind of shoehorned him in. He got asks last year from the Rams and also from the 49ers. So he was looking, maybe there was interest in him moving on away from the club, and they arranged it now so that he doesn't have to do that, which is probably good for the Texans.
Yeah,
I think he's
so.
a heck of a coach. Offensively, I did not know this stat, although now that you say it out loud, of course this is absolutely accurate. The Texans tied for the most starting quarterbacks since 2013 with the Browns. Both teams have had 9 different starters.
That's a lot of dudes.
Yes, that's
a lot of bad dudes.
And while the Texans haven't been the disaster that the Browns were...
Thanks for the defense.
It's still no way to go win football games.
No.
This year, after the Brock Osweiler fiasco last year, which we talked a little bit when we talked about the Browns, that was an experiment that did not work out.
No.
They're going to start Tom Savage.
I don't think they are.
At quarterback. That was the idea going into camp.
Why?
But in the draft, they picked up Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, a good football player.
Who just offered freshly off a national championship with Syracuse in the NCAA finals. Clemson, you're right. Clemson. I said Syracuse. My mistake.
I don't think they play football at Syracuse.
Well, they did, and I know that because Doug Marrone coached there. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about him later in the podcast. But Clemson, you're right. Clemson, national championships. No, Syracuse didn't win the national championship. That doesn't make sense. I take it back. On offense, do they have a running back?
Lamar Miller.
No,
Lamar Miller put up over 1,000 yards last year.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He only had 5 touchdowns.
Okay.
But he was getting stuffed because they're not passing the ball.
No.
They're just stopping the run.
It's interesting because they have DeAndre Hopkins on the outside.
Yeah, and he did well. He had 950 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That guy, considering the 9 different starting quarterbacks that this team has had since 2013, that guy's been pretty amazing.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Any kind of consistency for him, I think, and what does he do if he has the same guy throwing the ball?
Well, it's been consistently bad. He needs a good quarterback, not consistency.
Okay, he needs a good, consistent quarterback that will help him, not just anybody to throw him the ball.
And he could lead the league in yards if that's the case.
Yeah.
He's got that talent.
Bill O'Brien can coach an offense.
Yeah.
He's done it before. He's done it in New England with Brady when he had talent. I assume he can do the same thing in Houston, although he's never... You can't really call him a quarterback guru because he just has been down there fumbling through quarterbacks.
It's hard to do anything with these guys.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
You know how many touchdowns Tom Savage has thrown in his NFL career?
I have no idea.
None.
Really?
I mean, he's only got like 3 games, but...
No touchdown.
He's been in the league for 2 years.
Well, didn't he start?
I think he had like 2 games last year, 3 games.
And he didn't throw any touchdowns.
No, but I think they won the games too still.
Oh, jeez.
Texans football. So get Deshaun Watson in the game, please.
You should probably just bite the bullet and get that kid in there right now.
Yeah. What do you got to lose?
Not only that, but it's not the worst thing in the world to have a rookie quarterback in for that team because they do have support on defense. So mistakes that he makes, because they're gonna be covered up as well as you could expect. So yeah, I would say probably that's the best idea. Now, that being said, do you think Bill O'Brien will do that?
I think it just depends on his training camp and Tom Savage's training camp too. If one of them's good and one of them's bad, if they're both bad, I don't know what happens.
Okay. I've just got a note here that says they picked up Dante Foreman in the draft.
I like to say Deontay Foreman.
Deontay?
Because of the apostrophe.
There is an apostrophe there.
I don't know how you say it.
Deontay. I like that. That sounds better than Dante.
It sounds cooler.
Dante is like Daunte.
Yeah.
And this is
Colt Pepper. Colt Pepper.
Please don't do the train thing with the arms. That's almost as bad as feed me. The eating soup. My son was listening to the podcast and he heard me complaining about Ezekiel Elliott eating soup. And Dad, that's feed me. It means feed me. Yes, I know it means feed me. I'm aware. Eating soup. I hate that. It's so dumb. Okay.
Deontay Foreman's there.
He is.
Bill O'Brien's a high character guy, and Foreman's had a little trouble so far. So I don't know if he's going to get a lot of playing time to start the season. He might have to redeem himself a little bit. He showed up to camp out of shape, and he also had a little run-in with the law. He had some marijuana possession and unlawful carrying of a weapon. Got arrested for that. So that could kind of put him in the doghouse for a little while. But they got Lamar Miller and Alfred Blue ahead of him, so who knows how much playing time he's going to get right off the bat anyway.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you have a fantasy play?
Of course I do. I always do.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson.
So if he gets the start.
Yeah.
Okay.
But look, I mean, if you pass on him, you're passing on Michael Jordan. I know you've heard this before from his coach.
Wow.
Who's known to say ridiculous things. Dabo Swinney. Mm-hmm. That's high praise.
That is high praise. You're missing on Michael Jordan. Really? That's okay.
And the Browns,
All
they
right.
blew it. They didn't draft Michael Jordan.
No, they didn't.
So,
they picked up Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah, they went for him instead.
Which they didn't spend the first round pick on him. So Deshaun Watson as Michael Jordan. Okay, all right. How about a projection of where they're going to end up?
Well, I mean, they always seem to make the playoffs, even though I never expect them to. Again, I'm going to say that they won't make the playoffs. 8-8. That's fair.
8-8.
But I can also see them going a lot higher if Watson is good.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm going with 8-8.
I think I might have been drunk when I was writing this because on the page here it says 11-5.
Wow, you love them.
I can't imagine why I wrote that down. Looking at this now, 11-5 seems crazy. That seems really too
That's a
high.
good season.
That's a really good season. And there's some other teams in this same division that are not bad.
Yeah.
11-5. I'm going to go with it because it's written down. How can I change it? It's written down.
This is what we do. We predict.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to it and we'll laugh at how right we were.
We're going to come back to it?
Oh, I think so.
I don't know. That's the best idea you've had. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that going forward. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans also 9-7 last year. Head coach Mike Mularkey, who is isn't he a former Tennessee guy? I think he played a good portion of his playing career. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, they were 9-7, same as the Texans. Some kind of a tiebreaker thing.
Probably the head-to-head record.
I would imagine.
Or the divisional record, I think, is the first tiebreaker.
Marcus Mariota is back now in training camp. Broke his leg at the end of last year. So it's good to have him back for them. He is their franchise quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to go pretty much as far as I think he can move them along. I don't know if there's another quarterback they have on the roster that will be able to manage that team forward, which sounds weird when you consider that they've got a heck of a running back in DeMarco Murray, and they've got a really good offensive line.
Yeah.
So you would think there would be a number of quarterbacks who could fit in there, but I'm nervous for them because if Mariota doesn't come back strong.
You got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And he's decided to play light 215.
Yeah.
That's probably not the best decision, but that's what him and his personal trainer want.
215 seems really light, especially for a guy, I think he's 6'4". He's a tall guy.
Yeah.
215 seems kind of beanpole-y when you've got Jadeveon Clowney in the division. You got J.J. Watt on the other side. You've got these huge monsters pass rushing. If your solution to that is to never get touched, I don't know that that's the best idea.
That's what he wants to do, I guess.
215.
Just be nimble.
Okay.
Good luck to him.
Yes.
I hope he doesn't get hurt again. He's had a couple of knee injuries and then the broken leg, so maybe he can stay in this year.
He does have his best group of wide receivers to date. He's got Rashard Matthews. They went out and they drafted Davis and Taylor in the draft. I have a note here. I don't know who those players are. We'll cut this part out for sure.
They picked up two guys in the first and third round, wide receivers.
And they also signed Eric Decker, who was cut from the Jets. And I can only think is the best thing to happen to Eric Decker ever. He got let go, and now he gets to go to Tennessee and play for a quarterback who can get in the ball.
Congratulations.
Well done. Well done, son. Eric Decker in Denver was great when he had someone who could deliver the ball to him. It seemed like he was a pass-catching machine.
Yeah.
But when he got opportunities, he caught the ball.
Yeah.
Going to the Jets was a terrible idea. Hindsight being 2020, that's just dumb because you don't have a guy that can get you the ball. So why would you? They paid him a lot of money because he went there as a free agent. They paid him a ton. So you got to go where the money is, and I understand that. But as a choice to make as a player, that's got to be tough. So coming into Tennessee, I think that'll be a great thing for him.
I do too.
DeMarco Murray ran for almost 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns last year. Derrick Henry added in 490 and 5 touchdowns. And both of those backs averaged around 4.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's a huge running game.
Yeah. So this offense has got a lot of stuff going for it. So that'll be fun to watch, I think.
Yeah.
Defensively, do you have anything to talk about defensively?
They picked up Jonathan Cyprien, free agent. He was with the Jaguars. Had 127 tackles last year. He's a great run stopper. They're a great run defense already, so he's just going to probably strengthen that. He can play all over the field. He saw time with the Jaguars at linebacker, cornerback, safety, and played a few snaps at edge rush. So,
wow.
Upgrade, strengthening, bolstering.
They also brought in Logan Ryan, free agent cornerback from New England.
Yeah.
And they drafted Adoree Jackson.
Highlight reel machine.
I don't know who he is.
That's what I read on the internet.
Highlight reel machine. Adoree, is that? You think
I
that's
think
right?
so.
Adoree Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay. Adoree Jackson in the first round. So as a first round pick, you should be a highlight reel machine.
Well, I hear he's going to be able to play on defense right away. He's probably going to feature on special teams, and they might even use him on offense in some gadget plays every now and then. He sounds like a real versatile guy.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great, especially for a team, like you said, that finished second in the league in rushing, but was 30th in pass defense.
Yeah.
So it's good that they've got a couple of guys in the defensive secondary.
Sounds like they can bump that up a little bit.
And maybe just as important, they removed some of last year's defensive secondary.
There you go.
Yeah. So addition by subtraction, and then addition by addition.
Yes.
So that'll be great. One thing that I wanted to say about the Titans coaching staff, they have Terry Robisky as the offensive coordinator. They have Dick LeBeau as their defensive coordinator. That is the most experienced set of coordinators I think I've ever seen.
That's a lot of years.
Robisky has been coaching in the NFL since 1982.
That's
Dick LeBeau since 1973.
That's even more.
Yeah. So that's
100 years.
That's 100 years of experience behind Mike Mularkey. I know that's crazy. And I love Terry Robisky. He's fantastic. And Dick LeBeau, of course, was a member of those great Steelers defenses.
Torturing me forever.
Before they let him go.
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened? Did they let him go, or did they fire him?
I don't remember. All I remember is celebrating when he wasn't there anymore.
So he's in Tennessee now. So a really well-coached team. I'm kind of a Titans fan. You know, a Ducks guy, so it's easy fit with Mariota. And then also, they seem to be doing good things.
Yeah, I like their squad.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll have a little better season than last year. And last year they were 9-7. So,
I think they are.
What do you got for fantasy play?
For fantasy play, I'm going to say Derrick Henry as like a bench reserve running back for your team. I think DeMarco Murray is not old. He's under the 30 cap, so that's still good. But I think he's 29. So I think they're going to sort of bump up Henry's carries a little bit more, bring DeMarco's down a little bit, try and keep them both healthy. Henry's showed the big play potential a lot last year. 5 touchdowns, obviously, and limited carries. So I think he's going to be a good fill-in when you need a buy play.
Okay. Do you have a projection?
I'm going 11-5 with them.
11-5 and that would make more sense to me too. And I still am blown away that I've got the Texans at 11-5. I've got 10-6. I wrote down 10-6.
Yes, there we go.
For the Titans, which is still good, and not as good as I have the Texans. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if those two teams flip-flop. That wouldn't surprise me.
The head-to-head matchups can decide that one for you.
I think there might be a little more upside with the Texans, but I would expect if the Texans need more things to happen right for them, that quarterback situation really needs to sort itself out.
It could blow up in their face.
Yeah, if it does work out, if they get Deshaun Watson, he turns out to be good. If Tom Savage ends up being competent and able to carry that offense, I think Texans are going to be fine.
Yeah.
The Titans have a pretty solid quarterback if he can stay healthy, and I really like their offense.
Yeah, I think their defense is just a lower level than the crazy Texans defense of the ages.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys on that defense that can play. Okay, so we've talked about the Titans, we've talked about the Texans, the Indianapolis football Colts.
Yeah.
Colts.
The Colts.
The Colts. Indianapolis football Colts. 8-8 last year.
Yeah.
An 8-8 football club. Head coach Chuck Pagano. Andrew Luck had a lacerated kidney and a torn labrum last year.
Was the kidney last year or was it the year before?
Oh, I had last year. It was the year before?
I think it was.
Okay. So over the last 2 seasons then, a lacerated kidney.
The labrum's been torn forever. He was putting it off, and I think he played through it for a lot of last year.
Well, they ended up with over 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he missed some games, I think, towards the end of the season last year, did he? Or did he play all the way through?
I think he played. I think he might have missed a game for a concussion.
Oh, okay, maybe
that was unrelated to the shoulder. And then he just got the shoulder surgery after they were eliminated and the season was over.
Okay, I've got him as having over 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 96.4, that's pretty respectable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not out of this world numbers, but those are solid numbers.
You wonder why they were who they were.
Yeah.
And then you look at the defense.
It's really bad. Before we get to the defense, we also want to talk about Frank Gore, who rushed for 1,000 yards again.
Amazing.
Yeah. He'll be 34 this year.
I don't see that happening again.
It'll be tough. And I hate it for him because I like Frank Gore, and I really want Indianapolis to do. I love Andrew Luck. He's fun to watch.
That horrible beard.
That terrible beard that he grows, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The defense is really going to hold them back. Defensively, the 30th in total yards. Only the Browns and the Niners were worse in total yards.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And they had bad records.
Both the Browns and the Niners.
Imagine where the Colts would have been if their defense was even league average.
They could have been much higher than 8-8.
They probably would have made the playoffs.
They could have because it only would have taken 2 more wins.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not like they were playing in a division with a runaway team.
Yeah.
They're playing with 9-7 guys. 10-6 would have got it done. Who else do you got on defense? Is there anybody you want to talk about there?
Well, it's still kind of a problem because they've got Malik Hooker, who's good, but he's got problems with hamstring injuries. He just came back from the PUP list. He needs to stay healthy, though, because they need him.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton Gathers, neck surgery, out for the season, maybe.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't
He's
realize.
at least missing the first 6 games.
Wow. I had him coming back after week 2 or 3, out for 6 games at least.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Malik Hooker also he's got a hamstring thing. Also, since the end of last season when he was in college, underwent shoulder and sports hernia surgery. So he's already a little dinged up from other things, and now a new thing. And hopefully they're counting on this guy to come in and help a defense that's bad already.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get. I don't see how you get better. I don't see how they went out. What did they do to make themselves better?
I'm not sure.
Special teams, Adam Vinatieri's still there. He's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And he has spent 27 to 31 last year, 44 point afters. Great. Pat McAfee, almost 50-yard average per punt, 42.7. But, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. He retired.
To do what?
He's working for Barstool Sports.
He's going into comedy.
I just spent the last don't tell this to anybody at work. I just spent the last couple hours watching his special on YouTube.
Yeah, we both watched it.
Uncaged, is that?
It was amazing.
It was fantastic.
He uses Peyton Manning to make all of his jokes. Which is what I would do too.
It was a great punter, though.
Yeah.
So again, the Colts have lost that piece now.
He was their kickoff specialist, and he was their holder for their place kicker for their field goals. So that's all.
I feel like holding for field goals is less of an issue.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You never know.
I don't. I won't say definitively, but I think that Adam Vinatieri can work his way around someone else holding the ball. But the kickoff specialist is going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt them in punts because the guy was a boomer. So I think the Colts might have taken a step back in the offseason.
Yeah.
I don't think they helped themselves out. Do you have a fantasy play?
I'm going deep here.
Okay.
And it's because Frank Gore is so old.
Okay.
They picked up rookie running back Marlon Mack out of University of South Florida, 4th round guy. I think Gore is just going to break down a little bit this year, unfortunately.
It's father time catching up. It might be.
So I think they're going to use him a little bit. And I think he's got a good chance to run. They say that Indy has a terrible offensive line. They also say that USF has a terrible offensive line. And Marlon Mack did all right in USF, so The thinking is that he might be able to survive in the NFL behind another offensive line that is not so great.
Oh, jeez.
Don't pick him.
That's not going to be a good place to be. Okay.
You know who else I like?
Who's that?
Kamar Aiken. I'll go back to my Raven fans.
Kamar Aiken.
They signed him on a 1-year deal.
Who is he? I don't know who that is.
He played wide receiver for the Ravens for a couple of years.
Okay.
He stepped up when Steve Smith went down, when Dennis Pitta was out with one of his 15 hip injuries. Mike Wallace wasn't there yet, so Flacco used Kamar Aiken, 127 targets. I think he got like 1,000 yards, 944 yards, 5 touchdowns for the Ravens that year. Then everybody comes back. They get Mike Wallace. Kamar just falls off of their radar completely. They let him go. Colts pick him up. I think he's got some history with Pagano, probably, from the Raven connection.
Yeah.
So I think he might be a good play for the Colts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a projection?
I'm going 9-7.
Why?
I believe in Andrew Luck.
9-7.
I also have no idea what's going to happen in this division.
Okay. I've got them 5-11. I think they are significantly worse than they were last year.
Their defense is pretty scary.
And I think it's going to show more.
I think you're probably more right than I am.
Okay. 5-11. Is it just, what'd you say? 9-7?
9-7.
9-7. Wow. Okay. All right. Maybe. So the first three, we're through the first three.
Now your favorite team is here.
My favorite team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And where to start with the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think I would like to start with Shad Khan. Shad Khan bought the team back in 2012 for an estimated $760 million. And since he's bought the team, before Khan showed up, they were 139 and 134, basically a 500 ball club. Khan shows up, and since he bought the team, they're 17 and 63.
That's not good.
No, that's really not good. And then maybe this is a similar, in this same vein. The year after he bought the Jaguars, he went over to England and he bought Fulham FC, which at the time was an English Premier League club. They are not in the English Premier League anymore.
They got relegated.
Can you explain what relegation is to those of us over here?
The EPL has a 20-team league, the English Premier League. They take the 20 teams, and they've got like 500 soccer teams, football teams, soccer teams in England. And so they have like, I think 5 divisions. And they play their season. Everybody plays each other twice, home and home. And at the end of the season, it's just point totals. 3 for a win, 1 for a tie, nothing if you lose. 3 teams with the lowest point totals, they get kicked out of the Premier League. They move down into what is called the Championship League. The 3 teams that have the top point totals in the Championship League get moved up into the Premier League. So Fulham,
they got relegated.
They wet the bed.
Yes. He bought that team. He bought Fulham. And then they went out later that season and they lost a lot of games. They ended up 9-24 that year. 9-24-5. 5 draws.
That's not great.
No. Also that year, they went through 3 team managers.
That's a coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He fired the first one and brought in somebody else, and then decided that guy also didn't deserve to be coached. So he fired that guy and brought in a third guy.
That's how they do things over there.
That's a regular thing.
It's not 3 times.
It seems like a lot. They're competing in the Championship League now. They've been there since 2014.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a combined record the last 3 years of 48, 51, and 39 draws, which is about as close to 500 ball as you can get. That's better than the Jags. So I guess that's something, but he's doing it in a not the top tier.
Yeah.
It's the second tier. So maybe if there was a second tier football league, the Jaguars might be a 500 ball club.
They might be there.
That's what I'm thinking.
They might be visiting the Championship Football League with the Browns and the 49ers.
And, you know, it bothers me because Khan, he has a great story. He's a Pakistani immigrant. He came over to the United States when he was 16 years old. He did all the things you're supposed to do. He came from a middle-class family. He went to school in Michigan, I think, somewhere. He started his own engineering firm, building bumpers. He sold bumpers to the big three automakers in Detroit. He ended up working with Toyota and supplying all of their bumpers for their cars manufactured here in the States. It's a great story. And that somebody this successful could come in to a football team and they could do so badly. And I know he's not the one making all the decisions, but he's the guy he owns it. Isn't that part of your job as an owner, is to make your team not be bad?
Yeah, you got to just at least find the GM that'll make your team not bad. That's your one real job. And give them a bunch of money so they can buy players.
Yeah. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking as there's a breakdown. There's a breakdown, obviously, because you have good owners, bad owners, good GMs, bad GMs, good coaches, bad coaches. I was thinking, as an owner, you can get to a winning record by just putting money into the program. You can get to 9-7, right? To get much past that, you really need a GM, somebody who's good at
talent evaluating.
Yeah, coming in and moving talent around to get much past that, and so maybe make the playoffs. To go far in the playoffs, you really need a good head coach. So you got to have those three things.
Yeah.
And then in order to win a Super Bowl, you need actual Hall of Fame type players as well. There's a lot of things that got to come through, unless they're the New York Giants, in which case they just give you Super Bowls.
I was just going to say Eli Manning.
Oh, jeez.
Future Hall of Famer.
There is not another quarterback out there with 2 Super Bowl rings who's retired and not in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
He will wind up in the Hall. I am disgusted by that. He has no business being there at all, but he'll wind up there. He's going to end up there.
Do you think his bust will have his breathing mouth open?
That's probably a decision he's going to have to make with his family.
I hope so.
Yeah. Anyway, so Shad Khan, the owner. I love his
mustache.
He's a fantastic looking man. He really is very, there's something about him that just screams NFL owner.
Yeah.
It really is something else. They got a new head coach last year. And by a new head coach, what I mean is they bumped up somebody who was already there when they canned Gus Bradley.
Yeah.
They said, we're sick of Gus Bradley. He is not taking us anywhere. We're firing him. We're going to promote Doug Marrone, former Buffalo Bills head coach.
Boo.
Doug Marrone, former Syracuse head coach.
Yeah, there you go.
Doug Marrone.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Marrone, going back to his Syracuse days, he was 500 at Syracuse, but he was only 11-17 in conference. He only coached there for a couple of years. He was 15-17 in 2 years in Buffalo. So again,
one winning season, one non-winning season.
Yeah, and they were 500 seasons. Yeah. I mean, they were fine. They were just fine. He exercised an option in his contract that allowed him to leave when the ownership group changed in Buffalo. So he wasn't fired from Buffalo before Rex Ryan came in. He
just walked away with all his money.
Yeah, he just left.
Dirtbag.
Is it a dirtbag move? I kind of get it. I don't know that I would want to be tied down to an ownership group. That's a situation in flux anyway. And I think we all saw what happened to Rex when he went there. Although he's not a great head football coach. He's a guy that really, the Peter principle applies to Rex Ryan. He got promoted one step beyond what he's good at.
Yeah, stick to the defensive coordinator game.
Yeah. But anyway, Doug Marrone is in Jacksonville now. He's the head coach.
Yeah.
And I think he's got that job for just about as long as Tom Coughlin wants him to have that job. The Jaguars also brought Tom Coughlin back in after he was dumped by the New York Giants. Yeah. So I think it's probably a good move for the Jaguars. But if I was Doug Marrone, I'd be looking over my shoulder a little bit.
He's just filling it in for Coughlin. Is Coughlin going to come back and coach him?
Well, if the team starts off, let's say the team starts off, I don't know, 1-4. What do you see happening?
That's what I got, 1-4.
You got one.
Yeah.
I think at some point, if things go sideways for him, maybe Tom Coughlin comes out of retirement.
Yeah.
I don't know that Doug Marrone is anybody's guy. I don't know that he's anybody's.
He doesn't have the history, the record to back it up.
No.
I'm not sure how he keeps getting jobs.
He must interview well. There was some talk after he left the Bills, he went and interviewed for the Jets.
Yeah.
And there's some talk that he really tanked that interview.
Yeah, so he must not interview well.
Yeah.
And then the after that, he got a job with the Jaguars at a lower position.
Yeah. Was he
promptly after he had left Buffalo and failed the Jets interview?
Yeah. So Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Jaguar fan, for all one of you listening, I'm sure it's going to be a good year. Let's talk about players. We haven't talked about any players yet.
Blake Bortles. I love that name.
Like I said, we haven't talked about any players yet.
Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles. Not off. Speaking of training camp starting, Blake has had a rough couple of days in training camp. 5 picks in practice last Saturday night.
Maybe the defense is really good.
Or it could be that he's not a great quarterback.
To focus.
Or it could be this first day of training camp and who cares?
Yeah.
That's probably more like.
Hopefully for the Jaguars.
The Jaguars spent the number 4 pick overall in the draft on a running back, Leonard Fournette, out of LSU. And while I'm not a huge fan of drafting running backs super high, he is a stud.
Yeah.
He's a bona fide stud.
Tackle breaker, big guy, speedy guy.
Yeah. He did choose to sit out his bowl game this year. I know there were some people who were on him about that. But that seemed to be the exact right thing to do. They weren't playing for a national championship.
Yeah.
They were playing in the I Don't Care Down South Bowl. Why would I play there and risk a broken leg, a blown out knee, a torn Achilles?
Yeah, not when you're going to be the 4th pick.
No, he made money. That's dumb. So, Leonard Fournette, if you are listening, you have my blessing.
I hope he works out for him. They've had some bad luck with running backs ever since Fred Taylor left.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they've been solid at that position. They had a little bit of trouble on the offensive line last year keeping Blake Bortles upright. He was sacked only 34 times, which was down from 50 plus over the last 2 years. So I guess it's trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
But they went out and they brought in a free agent. Oh no, I'm sorry. They made a trade for Brandon Albert at left tackle from the Dolphins, which would have been an upgrade on the line, but he retired
unexpectedly
right before training camp.
Harsh.
They drafted Cam Robinson out of Alabama, and I got to apologize to Alabama fans into the university because I said, who can you name out of Alabama in the NFL? Turns out there's 800 million players from Alabama in the NFL. Yeah. So my bad. Cam Robinson, they drafted him in the 2nd round. He played left tackle last year. He's been a 3-year starter at Alabama.
Yeah.
They projected him coming in and playing right away at guard, a position they had trouble with last year. But now with Brandon Albert retiring,
going to move him into that spot.
They're probably going to plug him into left tackle. And
it might work out, though.
It might.
You know, Albert had a pretty bad year last year, and it could have been because of injuries, but it wasn't great. I think that's probably why they got him, because Miami probably would have kept him if he wasn't.
Well, they gave him up for a 7th round pick, so it's not like they gave up a lot. But the point is, he was a NFL vet. He'd done it before, and I think it might have been a good idea just to solidify the inside of that line, because you bring in him, you bring in Albert, and then you plug Robinson in beside him.
That's a couple of pass rush specialists.
Yeah. So
or pass defense
specialists. It could have been useful. I think that will start to matter more for them once the season starts, and you'll see quick.
Yeah,
they're either going to be able to fill that hole at guard or not. So we'll see. Defense ranked 6th overall in yards against. It's pretty stout.
A lot of good players on that defense.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players, and Gus Bradley can coach a defense. I think that Gus, you're going to find out. We talked about it when we talked about the Rams. He's with LA now.
Yeah, the
Rams are going to be just fine defensively. I think Gus Bradley is a heck of a football coach, and he's going to be able to put that group together like he put this group together. They've got the new defensive coordinator, Todd Wash. I don't know anything about him. Yeah. But like you said, they've got some talent on the defensive side of the ball to work with.
They added Calais Campbell. That dude's a monster. Mm-hmm. He's going to get in there with Dante Fowler and Malik Jackson. That's scary. I feel bad for some of those. I feel bad for Deshaun Watson. And probably Andrew Luck, too. He's probably going to be on his butt a lot.
I see also that they're planning on moving Miles Jack from a Sam linebacker position, which is on the strong side, into the middle.
Yeah, they're switching him with Paul Puslesny.
Yeah.
Another one. That's my favorite name in the NFL.
Say that again?
Paul Puslesny.
That's pretty good. It's no Wojciechowski, but it's pretty good.
No. It's no Jim Bob Cooter.
It is no Jim. There is no Jim Bob. You suppose when he played football, did he have Jim Bob Cooter on the back of? Because wouldn't you?
I would want all of it.
Yes, that's my whole name. No, the whole Jim Bob Cooter. That's the name on the back of my nameplate there. But they're going to move Miles Jacks into the middle, and they're doing that and trying to get him into situations where he can stay on the field.
Yeah, he'll play through third down.
Yeah, so they won't lift him when they go into their dime cover or their nickel coverage, which honestly anymore in the NFL, a lot of teams will just start out in their nickel. Just go straight because passing is so prevalent and there's so many 3 receiver sets. Everybody's using a 3 receiver set. Mm-hmm. It just makes more sense. So I think that's probably a really good idea for them. I hope that works out. I like Miles Jack. I enjoy watching him down at UCLA a couple of years ago.
You know who else they picked up?
Who's that?
Last year. Yannick Ngakoue.
What? Who's that?
He is a good player. He was surprisingly good for them. I think he was one of their best linebackers last year.
Really? Okay.
Edge rusher. Defensive end.
Okay.
8 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, an interception, 47 QB pressures. That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well done.
So they've got a lot of pieces on defense. And then, of course, Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. Started off a little slow, but he really came into his own over the last 5 weeks of the season.
So you think there might be hope for this team?
I think the defense is strong.
3 and 13 last year.
Blake Bortles has been back and forth every year. He had a huge year 2 years ago. And in between rookie and last year, kind of bookended that with a couple of stinkers.
Right.
So maybe the trend will be come back a little bit.
Maybe. Could be.
Yeah.
Fantasy play?
I think it's their defense, special teams.
Oh, good choice.
I think that's I think they're gonna get a lot of takeaways, get a lot of sacks, keep some scores low. They've got, the subpar talent in the division, most likely. Mm-hmm. They play against the Jets, the Rams, the Niners, and the Browns, which are all most likely not high-scoring offenses, turnover-prone offenses. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good pick.
Something that kind of backs that up a little bit is they only allowed 400 points against last year. And for a team that was 3 and 13, to only allow 400 points is not bad. That's not as bad as you could be.
Yeah.
So I think you got a good point. That's a good play. What do you have? Where do you think they're going to end up record-wise?
4 and 12.
I also have them at 4 and 12. I think they have lots of talent, but I wrote down no clear paths to win.
Yeah, I just can't believe the offense yet.
No, you can't. And they've done nothing to give you a reason to believe the offense. Yeah. There's a lot of things that are left that still need to be proven from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's the AFC South.
Finito.
Done.
Done with the AFC.
Done with the AFC. Moving on.
The dirty South.
The NFC South. The NFC South. And first up, the Super Bowl runner-up. The runners-ups. Runners-ups. Okay. The Atlanta Falcons. And here's a team. This is a team that kind of bugs me a little bit because I don't think they should be as good as clearly they are. They're a good club, especially offensively.
Yeah.
They put up 540 points last year. They were 11-5 in their regular season record was 11-5. Won the division handily. Dan Quinn, a former Seattle defensive coordinator, so clearly he's a stud.
Yeah,
just right off the bat. Kyle Shanahan.
That was when Seattle's defense was at its prime.
Well, that's when they won their Super Bowl.
Yeah. So they picked him up.
Yeah, and clearly he can coach a football team. He seems to be doing a pretty good job of that. We're going to leave out that part where they, didn't win a Super Bowl game where they led 27-3 in the third quarter. Then they just stopped playing then and lost.
I forgot about that.
Okay. So I having said all that about them, I think they're due for a little bit of a backslide this year. I think losing Kyle Shanahan is going to hurt them. They replace him with Steve Sarkisian, who was taking a sabbatical at the University of Alabama, where he was supposed to be. I love that story where he comes in, he gets the troubles with Steve Sarkisian when he was at USC, and he has alcohol problems. He gets let go from there. He goes to rehab, gets himself cleaned up. Nick Saban brings him into Alabama. He and Lane Kiffin, of course, have a history. We're both working at USC under Pete Carroll. Lane Kiffin, the offensive coordinator at Alabama. Then they go to the playoffs last year, and Lane Kiffin, what did he do? He took a job with Florida Atlantic and then started to talk about it while the Crimson Tide was still in the FBS playoff chase. Well, they're in playoff games, and Nick Saban just fired him. We don't need you here anymore. You can leave. And then they had Steve Sarkisian calling plays during the championship game, which they lost.
Oops.
Yeah. So this is the guy you're bringing in to maintain the offensive.
Just run Shanahan's offense. Just do it.
What makes you think he's qualified to do that?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
That's not my decision.
No.
It's not my responsibility to know the answer to that question.
It is not. It is not. And I love a reclamation project. And I think Steve Sarkisian can coach football teams. I think he can. So I hope he does a great job here. And you know what? He's got talent.
Yeah.
He's got guys. He's got Matt Ryan. He's got Julio Jones.
Devontae Freeman. Tevin Coleman.
He's got talent.
Mohamed Sanu.
I don't know who. Oh, I do know who. Yeah. Yes. Sure. That could be just fine.
Yeah.
Defensively, I have nothing to say. Vic Beasley, Desmond Trufant, they're fine. They're not great. They gave up 406 points last year. They're not ranked near the top defensively.
No.
But their offense consistently will outscore people.
And their defense does enough to keep some points off the board. 406.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn will scheme them into games.
Yeah.
That's why you got Dan Quinn, is for him to do that. So hopefully for Atlanta, that works out. Have you seen the new stadium they got? Have you seen the ceiling?
Yeah.
The roof? Oh, I love the roof.
That place is nuts.
I love the roof. And I can't wait. They say that when they actually get it working, first of all, how cool is it that it's not working yet and they're still playing? They've opened it up. Yeah, screw it. We're going. We're good. Can't wait. Gotta go now. But they say that when it gets finished and the roof is quote unquote done, it'll take about 10 minutes to open and close.
Fast.
It's pretty fast. Right now they have to actually do each. There's 5 pedals, I guess, that need to turn kind of simultaneously. Right now they can only do one at a time. That's the issue. So whatever, I don't know if there's a guy with one
Maybe
wrench.
They just have to hire the other 4 guys.
It's really cool looking though. It's Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they have the Mercedes logo on the outside. That's fantastic.
You know what else is great about this place?
What's that?
Their concessions prices. Have you heard about this?
No.
Lowest concessions prices
what?
In all of professional sports. Check this out. A bottomless soda, $2.
What?
Bottomless soda in a souvenir cup, $4. You can get a slice of pizza or French fries for $3. You can get a cheeseburger for $5.
How does that work?
I don't know.
Is Arthur Blank he's subsidizing the concession stand?
No idea what they're doing, how they're doing it.
Man,
that's amazing.
You know what? I'm going to bump them up a couple of notches in my
2 more wins
in my esteem.
Oh,
well, no. That's not going to translate into wins.
It might.
Maybe.
Happy loud fans.
Yeah, that's really cool. I did not realize that.
That's a great move.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat thing. What's your fantasy play?
Fantasy pick? Yeah. Austin Hooper, tight end. You've
really?
Never heard of him?
I have not.
Well, that's justifiable. He only had 3 touchdowns last year. Played 14 games. Only had topped 80 yards once. The Falcons have 3 tight ends that they play regularly. The tight ends only got targeted 77 times. So it sounds like it's a pretty stupid pick, but here's my reasoning. Hooper's good. He's young. I think he's only like 23. He's going to be a red zone target. And Sarkisian, he likes to use tight ends, whereas Shanahan didn't really use them in his offense. So I think they're going to wiggle him in. They've got the opportunity to use the tight end again, which they haven't had since Tony Gonzalez left 4 years ago. So I'm picking Austin Hooper to kind of come out of nowhere and be an effective tight end in the fantasy game.
Nice. Well reasoned. Well done. How about a projection?
12-4.
12-4.
Yeah. I think they're still a good team, though I may be wrong on that.
I've got them at 11-5. Yeah. I don't see any reason why they would backslide a lot.
The one thing that scares me, I found Matt Ryan had a touchdown rate of 7.1 last year, so that's passes to touchdowns.
Yeah.
His career average is 4.7.
So this might not be sustainable.
It's probably going to come down.
Yeah.
In 2015, his touchdown rate was 3.4. So it's usually around 4, and it was huge last year. So I'm thinking if he can even keep it relatively high for him, 5%, that's going to be a good year, 30-ish touchdowns. But last year was pretty ridiculous.
Okay. Okay. I have them 11-5. So it's yeah. Tampa Bay finished up last year at 9-7. And they were another team that allowed more points than they scored. They allowed 369 and they scored 354. So it's closer than Houston was, but still, they have a winning record. They scored less points than they allowed. So that's a little bit different. I don't know a lot about the head coach, Dirk Cutter. Cutter?
I like Cutter.
Okay, we'll go with that. I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know a lot about... I mean, I know Mike Smith. He was with the Falcons when they were underachieving all the time.
He wasn't he? I forgot about that. Okay.
He's the DC. I've never heard of Todd Monken.
I haven't heard of him either. They've got the guy that I would have comfortably loved to hate, Jameis Winston. When he was having his troubles at Florida State, I was down on him. Stealing crab legs. Yeah. You know what? The stealing crab legs things, the jumping on the picnic table and screaming at the co-ed thing. There was a couple other things just kind of squirrely.
20-year-olds, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, right? They seemed. You see interviews with his teammates, and they all love the guy.
Yeah. And
looking at him, watching him on the field, he's a heck of a quarterback, and he seems to be a pretty good team leader. I think he's solid. I think he's the franchise guy.
4,000 yards passing at least his first 2 seasons. I think he's going to get there again. I think he's got a better receiving core this year, so it's probably going to go up. Only problem was he dropped 6 fumbles last year, which was not good. So hopefully he can cut back on that.
He reminds me a little bit of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Just that kind of size.
Hard to tackle. Mobile, even though you don't really expect him to be that mobile.
So just a big dude, and he seems to be on the football field. He seems to make a lot of right decisions.
Yeah.
And even off the football field, it's not really... I don't like looking back at a guy's college career when he's 2 years in the league, and he really hasn't done anything since he's been with Tampa that would make you raise your eyebrows and say, he seems like a bad guy. Like you said, they have a better receiving core now than they have in the past. Doug Martin.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Doug Marty?
He's suspended. I have heard now the GM has said that he is not assuring that Doug Martin gets the starting spot back when he comes back from a suspension. So it could be the Jaquiz Rogers show. Go Beavs.
Go Beavers.
And to get that in.
Nothing wrong with little Jaquiz Rogers.
He's tiny.
He is very small, but he's feisty.
Yeah. And they have a good offensive line too, so I think he can be effective there.
They have, and it should be better, a little better than last year, because last year J.R. Sweezy had hurt his back.
Yeah.
And he's back in the lineup now. If he's back, it's a back injury. Who knows how that's going to turn out? But if he can come back and be serviceable in that role, that could be one of the better units.
Yeah, because their center was not very good last year, and Joe Hawley, and they had Ali Marpet. They had him playing right guard, which is where Sweezy plays. They're going to move Marpet into the center's position, get Hawley out of there, and let Sweezy come in. So that's kind of like a double upgrade there on the offensive line.
So yeah, that should be useful. And offensively, I think that they're probably going to be very serviceable. I think that's going to be a good group.
Mike Evans is good. Deshaun Jackson's got that deep game going.
Defensively, they rank in the bottom third of the league.
Yeah, which is weird. They've got some good names on that defense, but it's just not coming together.
They do. Did you see Gerald McCoy's tweet, his interview comment?
I heard about it.
He's underappreciated.
I didn't know who he was. And then you were telling me about this. And so I looked him up, and I apologize, Gerald. I appreciate you now.
So now you know. You educated yourself. Problem solved. He can go back to work. He made 5 straight Pro Bowls. He's named second team All-Pro, voted number 53 on NFL Network's top 100 players. Yeah. But he doesn't feel good about himself.
That's high praise.
He feels like maybe he should have been higher.
Yeah.
Should have been, better.
Second or first team.
First team.
First team all defense.
Yeah. Maybe defensive player of the year.
Maybe be a little bit better, Gerald.
Maybe, be statistically more viable. And then you can have those nice things. I give Gerald McCoy a hard time. The defense is not great.
The problem, Quan Alexander, linebacker, Levante David, linebacker. Quan missed 22 tackles last year.
Wow.
Levante David missed 13 tackles last year.
Oh, my.
That's a lot of problems.
Yeah. That's a lot of cape waving. That's not great.
Yeah, so if they can fix that, that could help improve a lot.
Okay. Give me a fantasy play for these guys. You gonna go with Rodgers?
No.
Oh.
I was going to.
Okay.
But I like O.J. Howard, the rookie tight end.
Okay.
This dude is big, 6'6", 250 pounds. He's a blocker. He's really good at blocking, so he's going to be on the field a lot. But he's also got the deep pass in his repertoire. So I think Winston likes to throw that. I think Winston had 14 touchdowns last year on deep passes. And if O.J. Howard's got that in his pocket, they can hook up a few times.
Nice. Good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. How about a record projection?
9-7.
I got them 7-9.
Okay.
A little backslide. Not much, a little bit.
I'm really bullish on all of the NFC South. It turned out after I went through all the games and picked my winners. I have them all. I think I have them all over 500.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right.
I put my losses elsewhere.
Fair enough. All right. Moving on to the Saints. The New Orleans Football Saints.
Oh, when the Saints
go marching in. Yes. Head coach Sean Payton. Defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. Offensive coordinator Sean Payton. Pete Carmichael. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know who's calling shots there. Settle down. Drew Brees, 38 years old, threw for over 5,000 yards. And why wouldn't he be able to do that again?
Another machine.
Yeah.
I don't think he's had under 4,300 yards his entire career.
You know, the weird thing about
his San Diego days, maybe.
The weird thing about Drew Brees for me is it's almost like he's had two separate whole careers, because I always think of him being a San Diego Charger for a long time
and kind of being hated.
Yeah, and he really wasn't there for long.
Yeah,
he was only there for
3 years.
Yeah, a couple 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
But then he comes in. You got to keep in mind, Philip Rivers has been in San Diego forever.
Yeah.
But Drew Brees was there before that.
For forever.
And now...
more forever.
Yeah. And all Drew Brees does is go to New Orleans and just throw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns every year.
Amazing guy.
Yeah.
And he's short.
He would not play for Hugh Jackson. That's right.
He'd bench him.
He's the guy you point to. He's the guy you point to. You point to him and Russell Wilson when they say he's too short to play.
Yeah.
So, yes, 2 different wide receivers had over 1,000 yards last year. 4 players had more than 50 catches. They lose Brandon Cook.
Go Beavs.
To the Patriots.
Yeah. Good move on both sides, I think.
Really?
I think so.
Why is it good for the Saints?
They picked up a first-round pick. They added some...
Oh, did they? I didn't know that.
They got the last pick in the first round, so second-round pick for whatever. They picked up a offensive lineman, so that's going to help Ryan Ramczyk.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They have a good offensive line. He's just going to be there to help solidify it even more. And they picked up right guard Larry Warford, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the trade is going to work because they've got Michael Thomas, who broke out last year. And I feel like a lot of people, I didn't notice his year last year until I looked at it. Willie Snead is good. They brought in Ted Ginn Jr. He's a good deep threat, which is what Drew likes to do. And
they brought in, I think the name that we haven't mentioned yet, they signed Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think probably he'll be able to, run the ball a little bit.
Yeah, behind that line.
Well, not just behind that line, but...
around that line?
Well, he won't have to face 9 guys in the box. Yeah. I mean, because you're in Minnesota last year. Why would I keep anybody in the secondary?
Nah.
I'll keep my one deep safety, and then everybody else right on the line.
Yeah.
Because of course you know where the ball's going to go. In New Orleans, does Adrian Peterson, can he run for 1,500 yards? I don't see why he couldn't.
He could. I don't think he's going to because Mark Ingram is there, and Mark Ingram is no slouch.
You think they're going to split time?
I think it's going to be... Yeah, I don't think it's a good fantasy situation at all, but I think it's a really good situation for the offense overall.
For the Saints. Yeah. If you're a Saints fan, you're going to have fun watching this year.
Maybe 800 yards each. I don't know.
I would have thought that the only reason Adrian Peterson wouldn't go off this year is just because they don't have enough touches to give him.
Yeah, because Brees likes to throw it.
Well, and you should. They should be using him as a play action threat.
Yeah.
That's how you should use him. You got to honor that. You got to get guys in. You can't drop people back if you've got Adrian Peterson back. Good Lord.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. Mark Ingram is there as well. I think it's going to be a great play for them. Offensively, they're really scary. I mean, they could do some real damage this year. Defensively,
that's also really scary.
They got Cam Jordan up front. They've got Nick Fairley.
They don't have Nick Fairley.
What?
I don't think you heard.
No, what happened?
So Nick Fairley, when he was at the Combine in 2011, he got flagged for an enlarged heart. And now it turns out that he's got a serious heart condition. So he's out for this season. Sean Payton, has been kind of hinting at that he might not be playing again. He might be done.
I had no idea.
I think it just came out.
Well, I
Breaking news.
Wow.
You heard it here third on the Broken Plains.
Nick Fairley is done for the year.
Yeah, at least for the year.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay, well then they've got more trouble than
Yeah. Not to laugh, but that's
no, because defensively they were not great.
no.
They were not great. They scored 469 points. They allowed 454. Remember we were talking about the Bucks only allowed 400. No, the Jaguars only allowed 400 points to a 3-13 team. They were 3-13. This is a 7-9 team. They allowed 454 points.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
They're going to have to score a lot of points.
Only the 49ers allowed more points per game last year.
Wow.
7 games they won. And probably all because they just were in shootouts. Just chucking the ball all over the field. So, give me a fantasy pick.
I like Willie Snead.
There's a lot of choices here.
Yeah.
Willie Snead.
I think he's going to get over 1,000 yards this year. He's been close. He had like 950 and then 800 and some odd last year. I think he's going to get there this year. I think the clear second option in wide receiving core. I'm going to say 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards.
Wow. Okay.
Book it.
I'm writing it down. Projection.
Well, I guess I believe a little too much in the offense. Or I didn't realize how bad the defense was when I did my projection. But I'm going 9-7.
What's insane is that I've got them at 10-6, but
only
if they can get the deep. I think that Adrian Peterson is really going to be a huge influence there. I think he's going to have a lot of impact. He's going to let them hold on to the ball for longer, which will give their defense fewer times to go out and be exposed.
He and Ingram can really just grind you down.
10-6 might be optimistic.
It could be,
but they're fun to watch. No matter where they end up, watching them. I love offensive football, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So speaking of offensive football, now we're moving on to the Carolina Panthers. You know what? I'm not a huge Cam Newton guy. I don't like watching their offense play.
We might this year, though.
You really?
We might. They added a couple guys.
They did. Why don't you talk about who they added?
Well, they got Christian McCaffrey out of Stanford.
I like him.
And then they picked up Curtis Samuel out of Ohio State.
Oh.
A couple of guys that are just like outstanding, crazy. They can do everything.
Playmakers.
Yeah. And that's what Cam needs. He needs guys that can get the ball out of his hands.
He does. He
needs the pressure off of him.
He needs to be hit less, and one way for him to be hit less is for him to get rid of the ball faster.
Yeah.
The thing is, we've watched Cam Newton for 4 years now in the NFL. I don't know that he's ever been great at getting the ball out fast. I just don't know he's not really a one-read, throw-the-ball guy.
Yeah.
He likes to take a look. He likes to figure it out. He likes to throw deep.
And he likes to take it himself.
And he does like to take it himself. His career will be lengthened if he learns how to get the ball out fast. I think there's no doubt about that.
I think these players will help him do it.
Those are some good options.
Yeah.
That they brought in.
Well, McCaffrey's been spotted in practices so far receiving screen passes and short passes. So they're obviously working on that type of thing with him. And then the Panthers last year ran 14 plays that were reverses, end arounds, jet sweeps, and they all went to Ted Ginn, who's gone now, but now they've got Curtis Samuel, who's kind of the same player. I think he's younger, and I think he's even faster too. So I think they're going to run those plays for him, take the pressure off of Cam, kind of deceive the defenses as much as they can, and get some yardage out of them.
It could be. When Cam Newton's healthy, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
And talent-wise, I don't know if there's anybody just straight talent-wise who's better than him. He's a franchise quarterback. They will do better than if they put in Derek Alexander.
The other Oregon State.
Yeah.
Derek Anderson.
Anderson.
I don't know if is he still there?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's still there.
It's just.
Well, he played last year.
Oh, okay.
When Cam was out, he played there.
Go Beavs.
Yeah, go Beavs. Derek Alexander. Who said that? Somebody else. Defensively, the Panthers may be in a position to bounce back. They lost Josh Norman, Charles Tillman after the 2015 season, so they were playing a couple of rookies, and they've all had a season now to be bad. And maybe, well, cornerback is a difficult transition from college.
Are you talking about pros? James Bradbury and Darryl Worley?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now another year older, maybe they will. They've seen it all now. They've seen it. It's like the first time around. If you're a new batter in the major leagues, first time around, now you've seen everything.
Yeah.
And now you can start hitting.
Well, they did improve a little bit last year too, so the hope is that they continue to build on that.
Hopefully.
And they added safety Mike Adams too.
So there could be some
secondary, which is their main weakness too. So if those guys can continue to improve, and they get something out of the other guys, secondary is there. And
they do have that fella that you were watching videos of,
Luke Kuechly.
Yes,
I love that guy.
He's fine.
To me, no, he's not fine. You need to watch more Carolina football. Everybody, get on Twitter and tell Jay.
He seems fine. Luke Kuechly, I mean, if you like guys that make tackles once in a while.
150 tackles every year.
Seems fine, if that's what you want.
Interceptions.
I guess poor man's Clay Matthews is kind of... I kid. I joke.
Thank you.
I poke fun. He's great.
Yeah.
Kuechly?
Kuechly.
It's spelled Kuechly.
Kuechly.
Yes. One thing, and I don't think this is going to affect them this year, but one thing from an organizational standpoint, they fired their GM, Dave Gettleman, just before training camp.
That was weird.
And I think this word, because like I was saying before, I think you can only get so far without a GM. You need that talent evaluator, and that not just a talent evaluator, but you need a guy who can control where the money goes, especially in a salary cap league. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing that Gettleman was really good at. He got out from under Steve Smith Sr., D'Angelo Williams, Josh Norman, without getting into long-term contracts. So, I mean, he let them go. There was still meat on the bone. Obviously, all those players could still play.
Yeah.
But he didn't sign them to a long-term contract. I mean, love of goodness, Steve Smith might have still been a Carolina Panther now. And he's been, was last year his last year?
Yeah.
Did he retire?
Mm-hmm.
But clearly he was dropping off.
Yeah.
When he left. So those were probably the right decisions to make. It sounds like what happened this year, what happened to get him fired, he was negotiating with linebacker Thomas Davis.
Yeah.
And he was holding a hard line.
And Greg Olsen, too, tight end.
And Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
And
who threatened to hold out
Jerry Richardson, the owner, just said, that's enough. I'm not having it anymore.
Yeah.
We need to pay these guys because they've done so much for the organization. And I admire that from a loyalty standpoint. But that is exactly the kind of thinking that kills teams in this day and age. Why is New England so good?
They just turn it over.
Yeah. They thank you very much for your service. Here's your ring.
Yeah.
Now you're waived. That's how they do it. So I don't think it'll affect them this year, but over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, I think that they could be in trouble because of that.
Yeah, well, Greg Olsen's like 32.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess some of the tight ends, Gates and Tony G, play forever. So Olsen could do that.
And Jason Witten is like almost...
Witten's
he's 100 years old now.
Yeah.
And Greg Olsen shows no signs of slowing down. No. He hasn't got, except for his hairline. Him and Jason Witten both. But yeah, so you know what? If Carolina is going to make a move, it needs to be right now. They need to win now. I don't think they will be as good in a couple of years.
They have a lot of competition too in this division.
They do. And if they start paying people like I end up paying people when I play video game football with a salary cap, I guess he's good. Pay him money. And then I have no money left. I've signed 4 guys. And now I'm host. That's what I'm worried about that for them.
Yeah.
Who's your fantasy play?
I'm going to go with Curtis Samuel, their rookie wide receiver player. McCaffrey's also pretty good. He's going to be in there, but I think the presence of Jonathan Stewart's going to kind of limit McCaffrey's what he's going to be able to do, because they're going to use Stewart. He's good as long as he doesn't get hurt. If he gets hurt, then it might be McCaffrey time.
Also, probably a cheaper pick.
Yeah, he might not. I don't know if he'll even get drafted because wide receiver wise, he's behind Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess.
And McCaffrey's probably. I would imagine McCaffrey.
I think McCaffrey is being overrated right now, from what I've heard.
It's hard not to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't really done anything yet, but apparently he's the next best whatever.
Yeah.
So he's fun to watch at Stanford. I don't know that he's going to have an easy transition into the NFL, but we'll see. We'll see. That's it.
We need the records.
Oh, I forgot. Dang it. Okay.
Or the projections.
Yeah. I've got them going 5-11.
Whoa.
Things could go sideways fast. It worries me they're trying to tinker with what they're going to have Cam Newton do. I think that the transition to that style of offense, that shorter game, I think that will take longer than they think.
Okay.
I'm not convinced that he can make reads that fast.
I guess we'll see.
He hasn't shown me that he can do it yet.
Yeah.
So, because what they want him to do is they want him to be able to take the snap, it's shotgun. So take the snap, take 2 steps, and get the ball out. And that's not his game. I don't think it's ever been his game. So we'll see. 5-11.
Okay, I say 10-6.
10-6. Oh my gosh.
Ultra competitive NFC South.
Oh my good. Who do you got winning the NFC South then?
I think I have the Falcons still, 12 wins.
Yeah.
But I think I probably have a wild card team coming out of the NFC South.
And that would be the Panthers then at 10-6?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay.
Panthers are back, baby.
All right. Fair enough. I love Ron Rivera, so anytime I can get a team with Ron Rivera as a coach.
Ron Rivera and his transitions lenses.
I love the hat. For me, it's the fishing cap he wears. Like he doesn't wear it on Sundays though, does he?
No.
But in training camp he's on. Anyway,
that's the show. We've done the breakdowns.
All the breakdowns.
Now we don't know what we're gonna do.
We really don't.
Stay tuned for that.
The Hall of Fame game comes up this Sunday.
Yeah. And who's playing?
It's the Dallas Cowboys and somebody else.
I think it's the Cardinals.
Is it the Cardinals?
Because I think I just read today that Arians is not playing any starters in this game. So it's going to be a good one. We're going to have a lot to talk about. A lot of players that you've never heard of.
A lot of players that you won't ever hear of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll put something together for you guys, and it'll be just as good as everything else.
It'll be fantastic.
It might even be better.
It probably will be better.
Dare I say?
Are you going to be watching Hard Knocks?
Oh yeah.
It's Tampa Bay, right?
It's Tampa Bay.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I like that.
That'll be fun to watch. I think
that starts next Tuesday, by the way.
It is. It's coming up. Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to start quick because they're already in camp. Mm-hmm. So, that'll be a lot of fun. Do you have anything else that you want to put out there?
Well, look, we're on Twitter now. We're up to 20 followers, which is huge.
20.
Yeah.
20 followers.
And I think maybe half of them are people we don't know.
We have 10 and 10 of followers.
So
that's huge.
And we want to give a shout out to one of our new followers.
Who's that?
Svea. At Ms. Autumn Wind.
Yes. She's
our fan of the week.
At Miss Autumn Wind.
Yes.
A Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to me?
Because I love you.
That's a fantastic Twitter handle. That's really cool.
So yeah, we're on Twitter at The Broken Plane. We obviously need no more followers because we're already overloaded with 20.
The Twitter response has been huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting clicks. We're just not getting followers. Come on, you guys.
Speaking of clicks, big moment for you. Rams punter
Johnny Hecker liked one of my tweets,
which was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get him on the show.
You are so close to greatness right now. Yeah. You are literally clicks away from greatness. That is awesome.
What else? We got a Facebook page.
We have a Facebook page, The Broken Plane Podcast.
Easy to find.
Yeah, it's not hard. Go on there. Say hi. We have one like. No, we have 2, but one of them is me.
The other one I think is my mother-in-law.
Okay, so we have 2.
We're very popular with her. We also have our email. It's thebrokenplanepod@gmail.com. You can go ahead and send us an email if you have a comment or a question, or if you have something that you want us to talk about. We'd love to get any suggestions you have. Or if you just want to be mean to us and 140 characters is not enough.
I think that if it was me, I think I would scold us in 140 characters. That would be more gratifying.
Like a tweet thread.
Yes. a tweet storm.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That would be fun. I will like every single one of your tweet storm tweets.
I hate you, and these are the 800 reasons why.
Yeah. I will retweet you to my 20 followers. We're also on iTunes now. You can find the podcast on iTunes.
That's right.
You search for the Broken Plane podcast in your little search box
thing,
and you'll find us. And then you can go ahead and rate us and even leave us a review.
Yes.
We'd love that.
Only I don't understand how iTunes works. In case you couldn't guess, we're new at this. I don't know how iTunes works as far as finding your reviews.
Oh, I've seen it. We don't have any.
Okay.
But we'll take 1-star reviews. We'll take 3-star reviews. We'll even take a 5-star review.
Settle down.
Okay.
I'm not sure. 5 stars. Really? Do people do that?
Maybe.
Okay. That's all we got.
We'll be back. We're off next week because I'm going to the beach, like I said.
Well, we'll talk about it.
We might record something.
So briefly, I'm also out of the country next week, but we'll see if we can't coordinate schedules.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to Yemen, right?
Or Winnipeg.
Oh. Okay.
One or the other. Both equally as exotic.
Yeah.
One of them has larger mosquitoes than the other one, but I'm not going to say which. You're going to have to guess. That's it. Hopefully we can get something worked out over Skype. We'll see if we can play with something.
And if not, we had to use it once.
We did. I had that queued up and ready to go.
Forgot about it.
I did. That's. Thank you to Matt Howe of That's Cool, That's Trash.
Another great podcast.
Another great podcast.
Psychotronic movies, completely the same type of thing as this.
There's a lot of crossover, I would imagine. He's been helping us with the audio and just giving advice, since he's been great. But he did give that. He did find that drop, which is fantastic.
I love it.
That's great. All right, that's it.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Baila, yo baila, yes, baila.